get 30 seconds to spare. Okay. Here comes Miss Baldridge. I'll wait for her. Okay. Good evening and welcome to the Leon Valley City Council meeting. We're so glad so many of you could join us this evening. Today's Tuesday, March 5th, 2019. All City Council members are present with the exception of Councilor Edwards, who had a family commitment this evening and was not able to join us and is excused. If you could please stand and join me for the Pledge of Allegiance, I'd appreciate that. Thank you. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Just a few reminders before we begin. Housekeeping type reminders. If you'll please silence all cell phones, we'd appreciate that. And then, as many of you know who are here on a regular basis, if you'd like to participate in any of the agenda items that are before us, all you need to do is raise your hand, stand up, and come to the podium after we've made the presentation from staff, council discussion, and we'd love to hear from you and your input. So that's part of our council rules. So thank you for that. Okay, moving then to agenda item number 2, presentation. Number 1, ethics code training and workshop. I would like to request, since we don't have a full council tonight, if we could table this agenda item until we do, if the council would please consider that. Thank you. Do we need a formal motion? Yeah. And a second.
And I'll make a motion for the mayor's request that we table this till a future meeting.
Second.
All right, thank you. We have a motion by Councilor Martinez and a second by Councilor Jordan to table presentation number 2.1 on the ethics training to a future meeting when we have a full council. All those in favor say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Any opposed? The motion does carry. Thank you very much. I appreciate that consideration. Moving then to agenda item number 3, we have our city manager's report. Ms. Kinsler, good evening and welcome.
Good evening, Mayor, Council. Thank you.
Oh my goodness, and I thought I was bad a couple of weeks ago. I think you beat me.
I think I'm going to let Sandra read the events off for me, if that's okay.
Sure.
Last week, you all signed letters to representatives from the legislature regarding the retention of the red light camera program. We left a letter out to Representative Diego Bernal, and I'm asking that for a consensus from this council that you sign just the exact same letter, but to Representative Bernal, if that's okay, if I can pass that down. It hasn't changed from the last one.
Certainly.
Thank you. Another consensus I would like to ask for the council to consider is that the city be co-sponsors of the Trash and Treasure event this Saturday. I looked over the lease agreement and the contract with the seniors. I see nothing in the document that would prevent us from doing that. In fact, the document says in their lease that they're allowed to do 2 Saturday events, meaning both of the Trash and Treasure events. And the reason they're asking us to co-sponsor is basically so that they can put their signs in front of the library and in front of City Hall. And they can't do that unless the city co-sponsors it. And especially because we're already in contract with them, I see no problem with us co-sponsoring it, but I wanted to get a consensus from you. Unfortunately, she didn't ask in enough time, otherwise this would be an agenda item for you. That's why I'm asking for it on a consensus.
Certainly. I certainly would support that. Is there anyone else that thinks differently or would support the seniors as well? Yeah. Thank you very much. They do a lot for our community.
Okay, wonderful. I'll make sure they know. Thank you. Councilor Rodriguez, Mayor Pro Tem Alcacer, and I attended the ribbon cutting for the office furniture liquidation business. And then I think, Councilor Martinez, didn't you go later on in the night? Very successful grand opening and ribbon cutting. And then Mayor Pro Tem Alcacer and I also attended the ribbon cutting for the All-Star Healthcare down there that used to be the dialysis center. That's a very, very nice clinic, multifaceted clinic that already is getting a full schedule. So we're really happy that, so not only are they getting a full schedule, Office Furniture Liquidations is already running out of room, is already looking to expand back into that acreage back there behind that building. So both very successful ribbon cuttings. I want to congratulate you and the Earthwise Committee, Earthwise Living Committee, on another successful event this Saturday. It was very nice. I had a good time, like to attend it. And I'm going to ask that Sandra read the upcoming events, if that's okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, you got one. Okay. The next regular city council meeting is Tuesday, March 19th at 6 p.m. The Leon Valley Public Library will be closed was closed Sunday, March 3rd for carpet cleaning. The 2019 Volunteer Appreciation Dinner is Thursday, April 4th at 6 p.m. Y'all come. May 4th is the general election. March 2nd was the Earthwise Living event. The next impound lot auction is scheduled for March 14th, 2019, behind the Community Center. The viewing starts at 8 a.m. and the auction begins at 9 a.m. Trash and Treasure Sale is March 9th at the Leon Valley Community Center from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. And AARP Foundation Tax Aid is still being held Tuesdays and Thursdays beginning February 5th through April 11th at the Leon Valley Community Center. And spring break is March 11th through the 15th, and the library will have special events daily. I'm not going to read all the events, but they do have them posted on the city's website as well as the library's website. And Movies in the Park has the unveiling of John Marshall High School's 18-wheeler on April 12th, 2019 is at dusk. I'm not sure what the movie is. Is that Jurassic Park?
Yes.
Jurassic Park. Upcoming meetings is the Pool Advisory Committee was on March 4th, and the Economic Development meeting was also March 4th.
Okay, very good.
With that, I would stand for any questions.
Okay. Any questions or comments from the council? I do have. I was going to make it under announcements, but I thought no, this is really better under the city manager's report. I got a text from a very concerned resident who was commenting on the 23 people who were killed by a tornado and are still missing in Lee County, Alabama. And of course, our thoughts and prayers are with that county. The disturbing part is that and I'm reading her text to me. The disturbing part is that the National Weather Service was only able to give these communities a 5-minute warning of imminent danger before the storm struck. That's not near enough time for people to react and seek shelter. The article didn't specify if there was a siren warning. It just said the NWS issued an alert. What I want to know is what emergency management practices are in place to warn us here in Leon Valley of a dangerous storm and other catastrophic life-threatening events. I know we have the siren and what it gets, and that it gets periodically tested. What else can be done to notify us in advance of dangerous occurrence? Cell phone alerts also are where are the emergency shelters? I thought everybody knew it was John Marshall, but that's okay. I suggest another update about this to be published in our local newsletter, The Lions Roar. Unfortunately, I had just finished writing it, so I was not able to address it, but we can in a future article. This might be the time to inform us now that we're going into the spring weather season when we have an increased weather danger. And I'd also like to know who our emergency manager person is. And I thought that was a good point because it used to be Blake Wade who just left. So anyway, just wanted to read that and maybe we can address this. I'm not sure how. I know through the Lions Roar for sure. But anyway, just wanted to share this because I thought these comments were right on. And we do want to be prepared, and we emphasize emergency preparedness all the time here in Leon Valley. So thank you for that.
Sure, Mayor Council, I certainly agree with everything she said, and I'll get Chief Naughton to write an article addressing these concerns, if that's okay. So if you don't mind forwarding that to me so we can make sure that we hit every point.
Very good.
Okay, Of course, we have our flood emergency response program, which gives you the text and stuff, but he can write all that in an article because it's always good to remind people what we have.
Exactly. Are there any other citizens in our chambers this evening that have a question for the city manager? Possibly. Okay. Seeing no one, then we will then move to agenda item number 4, citizens to be heard. Anyone in our chambers that would like to address the council, please come forward, state your name and where you live. You don't have to give your address, just Leon Valley or San Antonio, and you have up to 5 minutes to speak. So if you'll come to the podium, thank you. Good evening and welcome. So glad you're here.
Hi. My name is Mary Jo Griffin, and I live on Adair Drive, and I've lived in Leon Valley for 37 years. I've watched it change and grow. But recently, they have, right across the street from us, they've opened an adult care facility, and the parking it's out of control. You have, first of all, they have a trailer that is sitting there that is not hooked up to anything, and that's illegal, and it's been sitting for weeks and weeks. Nobody ever addresses that. The second thing I want to address is the parking. There's been up to 30 cars coming and going within 8 hours on a weekend. I work all day. I work every day of the week except for the weekends, and the weekends are family time. But we are dealing with this right in front of our house on the weekends. I have family. I've raised my children there. I have grandchildren. We can't even go out. They're parking under a no parking sign that says, the vehicle probably should have been towed. I feel bad. I understand what's going on. And I understand that there's no parking. But at the same breath, this is my home. And it needs to be addressed. I don't want a parking lot in their front yard either. They're parking in the yard. I called Leon Valley Police once. They came out and spoke with them. Nothing happened. I'm telling you, within 5 minutes, the same thing happened again. So I called them back. I made them come out again. That's not something that I should have to sit there and do all day long. And I feel bad because I'm taking police away from probably something that's a lot more important. But yet at the same time, I liked living in Leon Valley, but that's not very family friendly. And I feel like the whole dynamics of everything is changing. And I don't understand why, if we have rules and regulations, no one ever follows up on them. And they're not, I can quote you where I looked up on the regulations and the codes. No vehicles parked in a yard. There's vehicles parked like 2 or 3 abreast in the yard. Probably 13 to 18 cars at one time. That's just not right. And I feel bad that I can't do anything about it. And I feel bad that the police obviously can't do anything about it. They weren't giving out tickets. There is a code in there for Adair Drive. Let's see. I don't know what code. Okay. Yes, it's under 101.009, and it addresses Adair Drive. When you turn the corner at Adair Drive, you have barely 85 feet for
Small street.
the cars to be, and there's a sign there. If you turn quickly and there's cars parked there, someone's going to get hit. There's going to be an accident. A kid's going to get hit. Anyone walking a dog, you can't walk a dog down the street when all those cars are there in the first place because it's dangerous. I'm addressing this. I don't know how else to do it. I don't know who else to go to because obviously the police can't take care of it, and I don't want to live like that. So I'm either going to have to put my house on the market and sell my house and my home that I've worked for all these years and move out because of this. It shouldn't happen. I don't understand.
Ma'am.
That's all I have to say, and I hope something gets done. And if there's any way that you can somehow speak to the police or make it work, they shouldn't have opened it up if there wasn't enough parking to begin with. They should have known that ahead of time. And the man that came out that supposedly staying there said, I've never seen that sign. It just doesn't make sense.
Okay.
Thank you for listening.
Mary Jo, thank you so
Ma'am,
much. Do appreciate
if I
it.
can direct your attention to William Cox right there. He's our business relations director. This place has been in our on-ed system. Maybe you two can talk privately if you want, or here, it doesn't matter. but it's been in our system, and I know I've heard the comments about staff working on it, so maybe you two can work together, because I know that the team has been addressing it.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you, Ms. Griffin, for coming this evening. Really appreciate that. And we'll work together with you in solving this.
Mayor,
Yes.
Council, good evening. Thank you. I just want to provide a little bit more background information for everybody. There are state laws that govern assisted living facilities within our residential zoning district. And so there are certain things that the city can regulate about assisted living facilities and certain things that we can't. We're currently in the process of evaluating our zoning code on many levels, including this, regarding looking at making sure that we're doing everything to preserve the character of our neighborhoods. And making sure that we're also being consistent with state laws. But I just wanted to make sure that everybody knows there are certain state laws that govern the placement of assisted living facilities. But in terms of parking and other matters, we'll definitely continue monitoring the situation and making sure that we're enforcing all the laws that we have.
Okay, so we do have parking regulations that apply to the assisted living on the corner there? It's a very small street, as you know, and there's a blind spot as you come up this Evers.
Yes, ma'am. Our zoning code has parking regulations that apply to all types of development. Again, the state law also regulates parking in these areas in terms of the amount of parking that can occur on a site. And so we'll definitely be looking at those laws and looking at and doing additional inspections, coordinating with William Cox to go out and look and see what's on the ground and making sure they're in compliance with our
Good.
laws.
Just so we can be responsive.
I want to
I
make sure the
appreciate
council,
it.
yes, ma'am,
Okay.
and we're looking into this right now, so it's
Very
good
good.
timing. So.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Anyone else like to address the council? Please come forward. Thank you. Mr. Blackmore, good evening and welcome.
Good evening, council. My name is Richard Blackmore. I live on Forest Haven. I brought up to the Police Advisory Commission the last two meetings, about having a citywide garage sale. I feel it might cut down. We'll regulate it to a particular weekend, a holiday weekend or whatever. We could have one a year, or we could have two a year, who knows. But I just wanted to bring it up and probably cut down some of these signs. They're picking bandit signs that they're finding along Evers and Bandera and whatever. I just wanted to bring that up. They do this up north where I was stationed in Omaha, and it works out quite well. It's just one particular weekend, and man, everybody's out garage selling. And like I said, it might cut down some of these, might help out.
Okay. Thank you.
Bring
for
some
that.
notoriety to the city, too.
Certainly. Well, thank you for that idea. We really appreciate it. Thank you. All right. Yes. Okay. We've got. Got a lot of people that want to speak this evening. Yes, ma'am. If you could please bring the microphone down and your name, please.
Maria Figueroa. I live on March5 in apartment complex, and I just want to know who is responsible for this. But this is the third time I'm trying to get an apartment, and I've been losing my money. On the first time, it was $100. I didn't get the apartment, and they keep the money. The next time, $145. I didn't be able to get the apartment, and they keep the money. This time, I got the apartment in very bad conditions. This is another apartment complex. Okay, I've been paying my electric bill. It's only $20-something. This woman, she gave me a water and trash bill for $37 the first time. The next time it was $42. Now it's $78 and $100. I say, I'm not paying you. I'm leaving. Release my list, give me my deposit, and I'm getting the heck out of here. And also, the banks are revolving accounts people. Not only me, I know 2-3 more people. I've been 21 years on that bank. I have to close everything because I was losing my money. I lost about almost $6,000. And when I ask questions, they don't know nothing. The bank is such a long story. I don't want to hear the encyclopedia. I just want to know where is my money. And I'm not the only one. I know people in there, they've been losing money, and no one do anything about it. They get away with that. They say it's a white collar, period. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Ma'am,
Yeah.
ma'am,
Maria?
let me
Yes,
take you to one of the police officers back here. I think this is a civil matter, but let's go talk about it.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, and I'm assuming it's in Leon Valley, but it is a civil matter, right? Very good, thank you. Yes, Ms. Baldridge, good evening and welcome.
I probably should come up and ask this, but isn't Adair Street in a residential area?
It's R1.
R1, and the regulation for R1 is way down from what she's explaining, what's going on in that building. That home has been vacant for years and years, and there was a couple living there that walked the streets every day. But how can so many people get in there?
It's a assisted living facility
but
now.
isn't there a limit on the number?
I'm not sure how many people are in there. Less than 6.
That's what I thought. Well, okay. I just wanted to be
And
sure.
it is allowed in an R1 district, is my understanding.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Yes, ma'am. Good evening, Ms. Gamboa, and welcome. So glad you're here.
Maria Gamboa, Forest Meadow in Leon Valley. I wanted to ask you about, I know we already did tiger trash cans, but I'm having to haul my, when I throw food away, the compost. I'm lugging it over at my daughter's because San Antonio has it, but we don't have it. And I was really surprised that we didn't have it. So is there a way, I know you're probably on contract right now. I don't think you can break a contract or whatever, but is there a way that we could probably get it so we could have, instead of throwing food in the garbage can,
Right.
that's what I'm doing is just hauling it over to my daughter. So something to think about that I've been thinking about we probably need.
Okay, very good. I believe our contract is at least another 6 years. I'm not sure what provision it has to amend it, but again, we need to, gain consensus from the citizens that they'd want that added to our garbage because it would add a cost for sure.
That's exactly what I was going to say is I don't think it would be a problem amending the contract, but I think it has to be vetted by the citizens because we had a hard time getting the recycling through. So if we go and add to the bill for composting, we just would need to make sure that's what the citizens want to do. That's all, because it would apply to everybody.
The other thing, Ms. Gamboa, I have a composting bin in my backyard, so you can get some really nice ones that are all encompassing and put it in and twirl it around, and so that's what we do, just as an alternative. So thank you. All right, anyone else? Okay, thank you so much for speaking to the council this evening. We greatly appreciate your ideas. All right, moving then to announcements by the mayor and city council members. Councilor Rodriguez, do you have any announcements this evening?
No, just want to tell everybody thank you for coming out, and please keep yourself nice and warm.
Okay, thank you. I couldn't agree with you more. Oh my goodness, Councilor.
Obviously, happy Mardi Gras.
You go? I was going to say.
It's
I just looked at you. I hadn't seen all of the
bad way to have to
yeah.
spend Mardi Gras at the council meeting. I'm sorry. But,
okay, very good.
Wanted to indicate the Earthwise, that the Committee for Earthwise and all the volunteers that helped, that was incredible. It's the best I'd seen. There were nonstop people from beginning to end. Even when I was leaving close to 1, there wasn't a single parking place. Several people were waiting for my place, and it was wonderful to see. Wonderful. We had the benefit of a halfway decent day. And then please vote this week or next Tuesday. It's for our district here, and it affects the person that's elected affects our city. So please take the time to vote over at the conference center or next Tuesday here. And thank you all for coming, and thank you for all the people speaking up tonight.
Very good, thank you. Councilor Martinez.
I just want to say thanks to the mayor and her small committee that they really put on a fantastic showing Saturday. I think it's the best one we've ever had. in its 30 years. So
30 years.
her little committee did a fantastic job, and it really needs to be commended. And like Councilor Alcazar said, go out and vote, please.
Very good. Thank you. Councilor Jordan.
Yes, ma'am. Good evening.
Good
Thank
evening.
everyone for coming out tonight. I went to the Earthwise Living event. It's a very good event, very educational. Excuse me. I was also able to go over to the new medical facility that opened up for the grand opening, and it's a welcome addition to the city of Leon Valley, and we're glad that they chose us to open up. So glad you came out this evening, and thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. All right. Yes, again, got to have a shout out to everybody that had a piece in the Earthwise Living Day event, from the committee to the liaison to Melinda was there bright and early, and all of the public works, and we really, really appreciate it. The park commissioner was there communicating about the parks, which we really appreciated. And anyway, overall, it was a great day, and we thank you very much for your participation. I can't believe it's been 30 years. I mean, it's like, where's the time gone? But anyway, we'll be back next year, 31st, on the first Saturday in March. And again, if anybody would like to volunteer for our small committee, I think we have 5 or 6 members. We'd love to have you. This coming Thursday, March the 7th at 6:30 at the library, Forest Oaks Neighborhood Association, or just the Forest Oaks neighborhood, is having a meeting at the library with the police department, and we're going to be talking about the Google Fiber that's coming in and any other citizen concerns. So we hope to see you there. And yes, please go vote. I agree. Thank you so much for reminding everyone. So that's all I have too. So, all right, and thanks for coming out. Moving then to agenda item number 6, a consent agenda. May I have a motion and a second to approve, or does anyone want to pull out any of those consent agenda items for discussion?
I'll make the motion to approve.
Second.
All right, we have a motion by Councilor Martinez and a second by Councilor Jordan to approve the consent agenda items 6.1 and 6.2. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion does carry. Then moving then to ordinance number 7 ordinance. This is our second read from the last meeting, and we do need to vote tonight. And Ms. Pasley, if you'll please read that ordinance.
An ordinance of the City of Leon Valley, Texas City Council authorizing an installation of 2 gateway signs to be located at 6401 Bandera Road and in the 7200 block of Bandera Road by CEIS Inc. for purpose of city event announcement and local business advertising, authorizing the negotiation and execution of an agreement with CEIS Inc. for the signs, providing for repealers, severability, and savings clauses, and providing for an effective date.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Moritz, good evening and welcome. Are there any new updated information?
No, ma'am.
Okay. I did see one, and that was, remember last meeting we didn't know what location was on the west side of Bandera Road, but I read it in the packet. It has been identified as lockaway storage?
It's right around Lockaway. They've
Okay.
been talking to Mr. Obasi out there to try and see, and it just depends on the landscaping requirements that he has from the city and some vision clearance. So hopefully they get that locked down.
Okay, so one there and one by the, on the CJ Life Church, the round building on Bandera Road. Okay, very good. So no new information. Any additional comments or questions? Oh, yes. Good evening and welcome back. Did y'all have any?
Representatives from CEIS
Yes.
are here in case you do have some
Okay.
questions.
Oh, well, thank you for coming back, because I think y'all came from Austin last time. So, okay, very good. Well, welcome. I don't believe we have any further questions. Are there any questions from our visitors this evening on this particular agenda item? Okay. If not, may I please have a motion to approve or disapprove, whichever the council's wishes are. Thank you.
And I'll make a motion we approve this as read.
Okay.
I'll second.
We have a motion by Councilor Martinez and a second by Councilor Rodriguez to approve ordinance number 7.1 as presented. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion does carry. Thank you all very much. Really appreciate it. We look forward to working with y'all. Okay, great. Moving then to regular agenda number 8. We have agenda item number 8.1, 8.2, and 8.3 that are all first reads. No votes tonight, just a discussion and with information, and then they'll be brought back to the next meeting for consideration. So, Ms. Pasley, if you'll please read regular agenda 8.1, please.
An ordinance of the City of Leon Valley, Texas City Council accepting the lowest responsive bid and awarding a contract to San Antonio Pool Management, Inc. in the amount of $330,000, authorizing the negotiation and execution of a contract to manage 2 City of Leon Valley community pools, amending the fiscal year 2018-2019 general fund in the amount of $53,330 to fully fund the contract, providing for repealer, severability, and savings clauses, and providing for an effective date.
Thank you. Good evening, Mr. Demeline, and welcome. Glad you're here.
Thank you, Mayor and Council.
Yes, sir.
The purpose of this item is to consider awarding a contract in the amount of $101,330, authorizing the city manager to enter into a contract with San Antonio Pool Management and approving a budget adjustment in the amount of $53,330. As some background, on January the 2nd, the city received notice from Sela Aquatics that they would not seek renewal of our current contract to manage the city's swimming pools. We then prepared a bid and advertised that. So it was advertised for 30 days. In order to solicit bids from pool management companies with cash handling experience, we did include 2 options. Bid option 1 requested pricing to include management of both city pools and off-season maintenance only for those companies that may not have the cash handling ability. And then option 2 requested this pricing for the same service. However, the company would keep 100% of revenue, and this is similar to the model that we had with Sela. The bid was advertised for 30 days, as I mentioned. We had 1 bid received. That was opened on February the 20th. San Antonio Pool Management submitted the bid under option 1 for $101,330. The city will need to address pool attendance and membership fees, party fees, cash handling, and programming. San Antonio Pool Management will only manage the pools. The Public Works budget included $48,000 for the management of the pools this year. A budget adjustment in the amount of $53,330 is necessary to fund the new contract. The total contract is $101,330, as I mentioned. Council options for pool attendance, fees, other items would be addressed under a separate item at our next meeting, March the 19th, and that'll give the Pool Advisory Committee time to meet. We did have a meeting last night. Forest Oaks Pool will also need some additional repairs. We think we have a leak. That'll be looked at this week, and so we'll know more about that. Our recommendation is to accept the lowest responsible bid from San Antonio Pool Management, authorizing the city manager to enter into a contract to manage both pools for this season and provide off-season maintenance as well. Under strategic goals, goal number 7, provide excellent parks, recreational green space, and cultural opportunities. The pools provide an opportunity for exercise and recreational space. Under our C statement, pools add to the general quality of life for all citizens. Economic development, the pools enhance our amenities offered by the city to our residents, which may encourage relocation. And environmental, the location of the city pools may reduce the amount of automobile emissions as residents within the area would not have to drive for this type of activity. With that, Mayor, I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. I was just wondering, can you summarize what transpired at the pool committee last night? Just to
Yes,
give us some
ma'am.
background information, because $101,000 is a lot of money. And I'm wondering if we have other alternatives, and did y'all talk about that last night?
We did. We went over the contract, of course, and then we started talking about our alternatives as far as bringing that to our next meeting. So both of those items were covered. I did have a kind of a supplemental presentation,
Okay.
Mayor,
All right.
to answer that type of a question, and I can just kind of go through this real quick.
Okay.
Also, Mayor, Council, I think it's important to note from the first presentation that although we only got one responsive bid, we didn't just send out the RFPs. We actually started, when we only got one, we actually started calling companies, asking companies to bid, and we still only got one. So I just didn't want it to come across as we did it the lazy way.
Okay. And can I ask you, is the 101,000 itemized, or is it just a general overall bid?
It was basically, that price, Mayor, includes, it was a generalized in terms of managing both pools. It did itemize it had a separate item for off-season maintenance, but basically it was split between both pools. So it didn't have a lot of detail.
Didn't have a lot of detail. Okay. All right.
And
Very
following up on what our city manager just said, we did, that was advertised in the Express News twice. And we also, working with purchasing, we put that out on the bid. I can't recall what it's called, but it's there were 11. I was speaking with Rhonda today, and there were 11 companies that opened that up and looked at it. So I think we were kind of caught in a situation where it's late in the year, and so some companies already kind of have their pools, and we may have run into some of that as well. But getting back to this supplemental PowerPoint, we wanted to kind of present three options.
Okay.
Option one is city contracts for pool management, and that's a continuation under our current management arrangement. As you know, Public Works provides facility maintenance at both sites. A private company provides management during the swim season between Memorial Day and Labor Day, and off-season pool chemicals and cleaning maintenance as well. Just as some background, some costs of these contracts. In 2014, of course, we had one pool at the 6600 Strawflower location, and you can see where that contract was $37,984. Then it kind of increased every year to 2016. In 2017, we acquired the Forest Oaks pool, so that's the right-hand column. In 2017, that contract was $91,000. In 2018, which was last season, it was $48,000, and we used kind of a model where SELA was paid $48,000, but they did keep the revenue to offset that. And then, of course, 2019 is what we have, what I just kind of presented, the bid for $101,300.
And could you just remind us about how much revenue that was in 2018 that SELA was able to?
In 2018, I believe they brought in $51,000.
$51,000.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you.
So that bullet kind of follows this typical revenue that we've had in the past several years for all programs. It's really $35,000 to $45,000. It may be a little bit more. Since last year, it was like $51,000. Bid amounts for the past 5 years have included a certified pool operator, staffing of lifeguards from Memorial Day to Labor Day. They perform water quality maintenance year-round and program management for swim lessons, swim team, and other programs. Option two would be The city manages the pool in-house. Public Works would staff the management of both pools, provide building maintenance and water quality maintenance. The city would need to hire additional staff, including a certified pool operator and 6 lifeguards at a minimum. We put some costs together for this, Mayor and Council. For the 7 positions, that totaled $75,694.40. Water quality maintenance is $12,000. Concessions would run about $3,000. Swim classes and aerobics are to be determined still. The community room rental coordinator and a party coordinator would be carried out by the certified pool operator. And so that estimated cost, it does not include any overtime, and we did use City of San Antonio costs for staffing. The other thing is it does include, these are over 40-hour work weeks, or they are 40, potentially more than 40 hours, so we wouldn't, that cost includes insurance and withholding as well. Some other issues that we just wanted to kind of point out. If the certified pool operator or a lifeguard calls in sick, of course, and a replacement cannot be found, facilities may have to be closed until replacements could be found, and that could be in the form of closing one pool just to make sure, because we want to maintain that, a good, safe environment, of course. In addition to these costs, an extra burden would be placed on existing administrative staff for processing of payroll, accounts payable, personnel administration. We have basically 3 months to implement this option, and it may not be enough time to advertise and fill 7 positions. Unfortunately, we didn't know about this until January the 2nd, so we kind of found ourselves in a position where we needed to really get the bid out and move as quickly as possible. Option 3 would be city does not operate the pools. Under this option, the city would explore an alternative recreational uses for both pools or a single pool property. An example of this would be pool properties could be repurposed into a splash pad or dog park, etc. So those are basically the 3 options that we believe we have moving forward. And hopefully that answers some questions, but I just wanted to kind of include that as a side to this presentation on the contract.
Good. Okay. Thank you.
I'd be happy to answer any
Yes,
questions.
sir. And if you wanted to go back to that 90,000 or the 101, it doesn't matter. But the other thing that we're missing on that side is the revenue side of it. What our citizens would pay in order to use the facilities, right? So that would offset some of that,
Yes.
I would think.
What we were planning on, Mayor, is bringing that at the next council meeting.
Mm-hmm.
And last night, when we did meet with the Pool Advisory Committee, we did look at the fees that we brought in the form of an ordinance back in 2017. And so we're pretty comfortable with those fees. They had a few revisions to
Mm-hmm.
that, but I would like to bring that back
Sure.
as an option at our next meeting.
Okay.
And they did meet last night, and we'll have another opportunity to meet again once or twice probably, but for sure before the 19th. And
Okay.
bring back some-
Have you set the next meeting yet?
Yes, ma'am, we have.
Okay. And it's which day is it?
It is next Wednesday.
Next Wednesday. Okay.
Yes.
Very good. Thank you. Here at City Hall?
No,
you know, last
the Forest Oaks
Stokes
Pool.
Pool. Okay, that's right. I saw that on the
Yes, ma'am.
summary. Okay, very good. Well, thank you. I appreciate lots of food for thought. So let me open it up for any questions, comments from our counselors. Yes, Counselor Jordan.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, Mayor.
Yes.
Did Sea Law Aquatics give the reason why they decided not to renew the contract?
Yes, sir. The letter that they sent to the city, I believe it explained that they were expanding their role, like in the Louisiana area, and that they just wanted to, I guess, have to focus their efforts on that area. And so I guess being in Texas, we were their only pools that they operated. So that was, I believe, the reason that they included in that letter.
Okay. How much off-season maintenance? What is required with that? Is that a lot of additional work, or?
Basically, the pools during the off season, you can get by with basically treatment of about once per week for an off season maintenance schedule, and that includes cleaning, vacuuming, making sure that the chemicals are correct. And so that's kind of what it entails. It's about a once a week cleaning when the pool is not in use. When they are in use, that of course ramps up, and it's a daily function.
Okay. You said the reason we were late with this advertisement is because CELA gave the city a late notice. Is that correct? As far as them not going to renew?
Yes, we really didn't have any indication that we were under the assumption that we would renew with them this year,
right.
And so that's why our budget included the $48,000. So we were when we returned from the holidays, we were surprised by the letter. We didn't really have an indication that they wanted to do that. If it would have been helpful probably had we known this back in the fall or sooner, that we could have prepared more. But we feel like we have, we just hit the ground running and got the bid advertised, and we were able to advertise that for 30 days. So with the schedule that we had, that's kind of where we are today.
Right, I understand. My concern is just having the one company, and city manager explained the reason why. But I was wondering, on average, if we ran it at a regular timing, on average, how many companies would have competed for our pools?
I really think that we were, again, kind of caught late in the year, where a lot of these companies are already. I think they expressed, because we did make an outreach effort as well by calling some that had bid in previous years, and their response to us was that they were already basically full as far as pools that they were managing. So I think that's where we got that could be the reason, the main reason why we only have one bid this go around. If we could have advertised that sooner, we may have had, I think in previous years we've had anywhere from three bids on up to maybe 4 or 5.
Okay, thank you. If the Forest Oaks pool is cracked, and how does that affect the equation as far as seeking bids for pool management?
Unfortunately, and we were really trying to get the leak detection company out prior to this meeting, but they're backlogged, and they actually were able to move us up, but they're scheduled to be out there Thursday. What I've noticed is when the pool is full, we're losing about 2 to 3 inches, and then it seems to kind of slow or stop. So in talking with another company, they mentioned it could be a skimmer, it could be 2 skimmers to possibly be replaced. They threw out a rough estimate of $6,000 if we were to replace all the skimmers, if that is the case. But we just don't know if it's a crack or if it's related to the skimmers, but we'll know for sure on Thursday after they do their leak detection study.
Okay, so
I'll definitely report that back.
Good.
When I have that information.
okay, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. So if the pool is leaking, then we're just down to one, and would the option be the recommendation for the city to maintain that one, or?
If the pool's leaking, we'll fix it. I mean, other than it costing, like an exorbitant amount of
Right.
money, we would just go in there and fix
$6,000
the
is
pool.
reasonable.
So the pool bid itself doesn't have anything to do with the leaking pool, unless it's catastrophic. We don't think it's catastrophic.
And that was my question. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Councilor Martinez.
Sorry. To me, it sounds like the option 2 is about the best bet for us. If we could hire someone from Public Works to be a certified pool person, and that would be a full-time job, and during the swim season, that'd be devoted 100% to the pools, but in the off-season, you've got an extra body.
To me, it's the worst option.
It's the worst
That's
option.
7 extra people that Public Works would have to monitor, manage, all the personnel that goes with it, and there's only 2 administrative people at Public Works right now as there is. And so we're managing all these other projects, CDBG along with it. The only difference between this pool bid and us doing it is the overhead costs. You're looking at probably 10% for overhead costs. And so for that 10%, now we've got to do Crystal with the hiring, we've got to do us with the managing. If we're short a lifeguard, we have to close the pools, and that happened many times over the past summer. The difference was that pool company has a myriad of lifeguards that can step in. They can afford to do that. They have 12 to 24 lifeguards at any given time. We wouldn't. We would have only the 6. So if we had a problem with that kind of management, a pool would have to close.
Okay, I was thinking the way they handled the lifeguards prior is that they would have some of the kids from the swim team who would get certified as lifeguards, and they would...
Some of them were. Some of them were certified lifeguards, but not all of them.
Right, but
so,
that could be your pool of lifeguards.
But we would only have a pool of 6, because we'd have to hire these people for the summer.
Correct.
Right, okay.
So that would be it would be almost horrendous to have to manage this pool at this late game by ourselves. Now, if next year we wanted to try that, then I would be all for it, and we could do that. We could train a person from Public Works, certainly to be a certified pool manager, so that they could manage that pool during the winter or all year long if that's what you wanted. I mean, ideally, we would like to take care of the pool during the winter and not have a hired contractor over there. It would just be a certified pool operator on staff. But we don't have that right now. I don't have the time to get one trained to do that.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Really appreciate that. Councilor
So in
Alcacer.
effect, it's not an option really for this year, it sounds like. But the possibility for next year, I'm in favor of. I'm also in favor of looking for alternatives to maybe closing one pool and using the other, repurposing the other, not for a dog park because there aren't that many people, but many people I think would use a splash pad. And besides, we're opening a dog park somewhere else. And but in addition, I agree with the fact we don't have time, and we need to see one more year. We didn't get that great attendance at the pools last year, and we need to see if it's going to pick up again or if it's a lesser used option in today's world. I'm not sure why, and maybe it's because we don't have it open more months. But those are all things I think we ought to start working on even right now toward next year, so there's a lot more options. But I appreciate the time you put into it and the effort. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, no, I think I heard SELA had, I think they only went to the second week of August, right? And so I think we had a lot of people that were saying, well, we have at least 2 more weeks, if not another month of hot weather. So anyway, did we not have in our contract a date by which you had to say you didn't want to renew the contract? We didn't have one? We did. And it was that late? January 2nd?
For our purposes, yes.
Uh-huh.
He had indicated back in October and November that they were going to continue.
Right. I
And
remember he
we
came.
were already planning for the next year, the whole 9 yards. And then as soon as we hit that Christmas break, he sent the letter in. He had 30 days to terminate, and he took his exact 30 days.
Oh, he
to terminate.
did. Okay.
So then we're stuck with this. Okay, now we got to go out for bids and da da da. So
Okay. All right. Very good.
most
Thank you.
of the other pool companies had already been hired on by the end of October, first part of November.
All right. Very good. Councilor Rodriguez, do you have anything to add?
No, not right now.
Okay. Very good.
Mayor?
Yes. Oh, yes. Hello.
Excuse
I just
me.
heard my name.
Counselor Edwards sent in a comment.
Okay.
He asked me to
Very
read.
good. Yes.
Counselor Edwards said, I am opposed to closing the Forest Oaks pool. We should seek other management options such as Mr. Kelly or pool management companies. Families need access to both pools, and Forest Oaks offers unique fund generation opportunities versus the Poss Road pool. Additionally, it's a safety issue keeping children off the streets, also out of trouble, and offers fitness benefits. David Edwards.
Okay. All right. Very good. Thank you. Yeah. Quality of life, property values. I mean, we've had those pools forever. What else did I say? Great venue for parties. That's the Forest Oaks pool that they've really got a nice facility there. And the other thing I had written down was, they've gone out and sought daycare centers to come in, for extra money. And this, of course, the swim team was there last year. So anyway, but I know we'll solve it, and hopefully with the leak detection this coming Thursday and more information on the pool. And then I'm glad to hear what you had to say, Melinda, as far as that option, number 2. So we'll come up with and just get out and try to advertise and get people to sign up. And you'll have the information next meeting as far as the fee schedule, the proposed fee schedule.
Yes, Mayor.
Okay,
We sure
very
will.
good.
We'll bring that back.
Great.
on the 19th.
Thank you.
Thank
So,
you.
very good discussion. How about any comments from our resident citizens here in the chambers this evening on the pool? Very important. Okay. Ms. Baldridge. Awesome.
Some of us grew up at the pool.
That's right. That's right. You've
And
been.
it's very critical to have this offered for our residents. It upholds our property values, and it opens up the community to get together upon their wishes and their needs. And so I'm hoping that there's some good way that those things can go on, because there's nothing better than having our children active locally.
That's right. I couldn't agree with you
That's
more.
my comment. I don't know.
Yes.
I just feel that with the right effort, we're going to get to where we need to be.
Very good.
Thank you.
Positive thinking. All right. Great. Thank you. Anyone else? Okay. Thank you. Good discussion, and we will have more information at the next meeting, March the 19th, and then hopefully be able to make a decision on the pool for the summer season of 2019. Then moving to regular agenda item number 8.2. Ms. Postley, if you'll please read that ordinance.
An ordinance of the City of Leon Valley, Texas City Council designating the southeast irregular 150.38 feet of parcel 10, ARB 10A, Block 5, CB 4432C, being a vacant parcel of land on Peachtree Street at Poss Road at a park, and approving a site plan for a development of park, providing a pre-peeler, severability and savings clause, and providing effective date.
Thank you very much. Good evening,
Good evening,
Ms.
Mayor and City
Morton.
Council.
Thank you
Didn't
for
mean to
being
take over
here.
David's presentation there.
Mm-hmm.
So this is to dedicate the vacant land on Peachtree Street at Poss Road as a park, and to consider a new proposal for the development of that park at that location. This is the site map showing you, can we use the green one? The vacant lot. I'll let you Pretty sure you all know where it is. So this item was brought before the citizens at the January 2018 Town Hall meeting, and we had several ideas that were brought forth from the residents. It was remanded back to the Park Commission for recommendation, and several concepts were developed. The Park Commission considered several options. I turned it on.
Oh, okay.
Thank you. But they had tabled it to their November meeting. Meanwhile, the City Council presented it at the October 20th, 2018 meeting, Coffee with the Council, and the citizens did their little impromptu voting on it. And they voted for Concept 2 with remodeled pool restrooms, porous paver parking, turf, and landscaped areas. The Park Commission was informed of the citizens' preference at their November Park Commission meeting, but we had a new Park Commission member attend, and she presented an alternative concept which was highly favored by the Park Commissioners. And the Park Commissioners then voted to recommend the alternative concept to the City Council. This was the citizens' preferred concept from the Coffee with the Council. And as you can see, it has the porous pavers. Aha, right in here. And then landscaping areas around it. And then this is the new concept. And this one has a large open grassy area, an amphitheater, a life-size checkerboard set, some bubblers, remodeled restrooms, a paver area, but this is also a pavilion that has chess tables or checker tables underneath it, and then shade for the pool seating area for the pool. And the park amenities, as I'd said, have a life-size chessboard with partial shade, covered chess table area, handicap-accessible brick pathway, noise-canceling landscaping and turf area, and a heritage garden beds, ground bubblers, some public art, landscaping, some electrical outlets, and the remodeled pool restrooms. The pros for this, it would be open year-round and have multi-generational use. It would be attractive to varied users. The turf and pavers would eliminate some of the maintenance problems. Bubblers provide an alternative to a full-size splash pad, so it wouldn't be as expensive. It would serve as an overflow area for the pool when in use, and encourage the neighborhood walkers and provide areas for shade and water, and then create a multi-purpose public outdoor space to encourage leisure, culture, and exercise. The cons, it would be some neighborhood noise increases, especially you've got the house right next door. It could be expensive. The City Council budgeted $60,000 in this fiscal year, but these costs that I'm discovering so far, it's already added up to $120,000. And it would cause more maintenance. And then she gives some potential uses for the park, the different groups that could use it, which I thought this would be a great place for movies instead of movies in the park, movies at the Heritage Park. And as I said, we budgeted $60,000. So far, I'm up to $120,000, and I can go more, but I'm trying to keep it at a minimum. And so what I suggest is that if you're interested in this, we design, develop the plans, prepare an opinion of probable cost, and then bring that cost back to the City Council. And that way you can make your decision whether to go with this new one or stay with the concept that the people liked at the Town Hall, or the Coffee with the Council. And at the February 14th meeting, the Park Commission heard the proposal and recommended approval of the new proposed concept. I do have Commissioner Alonso here, and I think she would like to explain some of the concepts of her park to you.
Okay, sure. Good evening and welcome.
Mayor, first of all, does anybody have any questions after what they just heard? Any initial inquiries?
Not real. The one question I had is, did we come up with some alternatives at the town hall meeting that were different, that were presented at the coffee? That's what I wanted to know first, it was the same. So the town hall meeting and the coffee was the other concept that was agreed upon by the majority of the people who participated at those two venues, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And, I appreciate, Ms. Alonso, you thinking so creatively outside the box. My concern is that this needs to be vetted by the citizens before I think the council votes on it, just because we've had a lot of concern expressed over the last year, year and a half with the neighbors around there about noise and primarily about noise. That was the main thing. So I think it's a wonderful concept. I just would like to run it by more of the citizens. So
I
that's.
hear you, and
Yeah.
I understand the concern.
You bet.
Yes, and living on Post Road, just like 2 blocks down, so I would drive by this property every day and thinking, okay, it seems like there's not a really full cohesive idea, that we're still kind of grappling and what would make this property make sense, developing this property. And I completely respect all the neighbors not wanting to be pushed out of my own property by anything. And I do think that if the citizens do like this plan, I think there's plenty of responsible things that we could do to protect, particularly the neighbor behind the pavilion. It's not a pavilion. And I want to go in, it's an amphitheater, so to speak, and I want to speak to what that means. But when I designed this, I really did think a lot about the neighbors and their sight lines, so that's why I proposed a heavy tree barrier for sight and sound, and I think it would look prettier driving by there every day. I think it might increase their quality of life visually. But also behind there, I think there's responsible things that we could do. The current fence there next to that neighbor is very short and thin, so perhaps, putting up a really nice fence for them, and also keeping it safe, because we don't want people hiding in there or increasing crime or anything like that. So I do want to talk to the item B, amphitheater, and what that means and what the purpose of that is. So if this property was to be used for public events, and my original thought is that it's events for the city of Leon Valley by the citizens, and that the city would be in charge of said events, like movies in the park or things the event planners would have on her agenda. 4th of July, I know Ms. Rodriguez does a wonderful program, and it would be nice to see her dancers up there. We have a community theater that performs in the library, so I feel like there's a lot of people's voices in the community that could be heard on that stage, and that would be the purpose of that stage, to hear the voices and see the community, what they have to offer each other. So the raised platform would be necessary for those types of performances, and you'd also want it to be covered. So, but it would be kind of silly just to cover it for shade and then muffle all the noise. So an amphitheater can be very, I wish I had brought some pictures. It could be as simple. I saw one that looks like a bus stop, but instead of the roof being like this, it's just like that, and it's the tiniest little thing, like for camp. And it's really just the idea of that you're channeling the noise with angling the roof up. And the benefit of that is, if this space was to be used in that capacity, it would be much more it'd be much safer and considerate for the neighbors, because you're moving the sound this way. If you just were going to turn up a radio, you would have to amplify that sound exponentially to get the noise in the direction that you wanted. So it's really kind of makes it more effective, and hopefully the idea was more considerate and less overbearing to the surrounding areas. So that's what I wanted to mention about the amphitheater. Also, it seemed to me that we have a lot of history and culture, and it would be a wonderful thing to share that in a more public arena with those walking our neighborhood, with the students around, and the elements that would be historical. In the back of the amphitheater, possibly, these are all just thoughts, right, is that we could have an outdoor structure that displays a timeline of Leon Valley, the history of Leon Valley. That just stands out there as kind of an outdoor museum, so to speak. And also there's a thought to do on the facility wall a very tasteful, calm mural, because I certainly don't want to drive by something extremely loud and obnoxious every day as a neighbor, but something that could represent, you know, any number of beautiful things that we have to share in our community, 4th of July, or, you know, all the great information the Historical Society has to offer too. The third thing, as far as culture goes, I wanted to mention is the gardens. The idea for having the gardens out there was to develop the community's understanding of landscaping and natural plants, possibly garden plants, but just any, to also have placards near the plants where people can better garden, better landscape their front yards, better grow perhaps their own vegetables, and just giving them a resource that they can go and, as a reference, learn how to better take care of their, incorporate that knowledge into their own houses or their own yards. So I'm sorry, it's very comprehensive, but that's the concept, and thank you for listening.
You bet. Thank you. Any other questions or comments from the counselors on this concept?
No, ma'am, just that, just as you already spoke, this wasn't presented at the town hall.
Right.
Looks like a great concept, but it wasn't presented at the town hall to the citizens and the people that's in the area, that lives in that area proper. So I just want to have it presented to them before we decide on moving forward.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Yes, Councilor Martinez.
I concur with Councilor Jordan. My first concern is with the pavilion. I can just hear the neighbors around the pool filling up the council chambers, objecting to that. And I like the idea of the amphitheater, but I think it would be better suited across the street. If you drive into the big parking lot, that park on the right-hand side, that would be a very good place for the amphitheater, and possibly turn that area into additional parking, because the concept that the people did vote for had some additional parking for the pool. So we might, you know, consider expanding that area into additional parking with lid-type parking.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yes. Councilor Alcacer.
Yes, I don't think in my memory that the concept that was voted on had the parking. I think it was the one picked without the extra parking, but I could be mistaken.
It's been a while.
I like the idea a lot, and I think the few of the things can be worked on. I wondered if the what you call the spray ground plaza, is that also where the bubbler is? Are they the same thing?
That middle area where the blue, that is the bubbler area.
Okay, but it's called on here a
Yes,
spray ground plaza.
Yeah, I believe
But
that
it has, so you have seat benches around the bubbler, is that the idea?
I believe so, Melinda.
Just for y'all's info, I did check on that concept. I brought the vote, and it was the one that I showed y'all on here.
I'm sorry?
From the Coffee with the Council, it was that concept that I showed on here. I brought the little thing so you can see it.
Okay.
But yes, this is the bubbler pad right here, and then this is just a life-size chessboard. There's no seating area in here. So the kids would be boinging through here while the parents were playing chess here, or playing chess underneath this little gazebo. There's, I think, 3 or 4 tables planned in there that are those chess actual tables with seats.
In the places where I've seen the large life-size chessboards, it's been the kids playing a lot, and some with the families with the kids. I've even seen the kids teaching the parents as well as vice versa, so it's a really kind of a neat concept. But with the situation we have with the pools, I'd also like to see what we're going to, besides the cost of this, what we're going to do with the situation of the pools, because this might affect what's done here, because this part of what had been discussed before was the, allowing this park to also have party area like the Forest Oaks pool does, but that was ruled as being too expensive. But if this pool, for example, were to be changed into or repurposed, then this concept would be really good for using it in that area and maybe even expanding it. So I love what you've done, and I hope we can work on it and get something like that. And incidentally, I also think that the neighbor immediately behind it was one that did not particularly object to the noise. They've lived by the noise since they've been there, and I don't believe they were one specifically that objected to the noise, but there certainly can be accommodation. They even have walls now that minimize noise, and something like that could be brought into it. But thank you for what you've done and brought forward.
Monica.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Rodriguez, any comments?
Actually, I do like this new concept for, it just seems like it's something that would really flourish in the community because it'll be multi-purpose. I see a lot of course, with the dance group, I'm very particular on the amphitheater. That would be a cool concept, and thinking that maybe we could bring in other ethnicities, other forms of dance or entertainment or music that would maybe be more profitable to our city. So,
okay.
But I also agree with Ms. Alcacer about needing to decide what we're going to do with that pool area.
Mm-hmm.
And then that's about it.
Right, right. Thank you for thinking outside the box. It reminds me a lot. I take my granddaughter to the Hemisphere Park downtown,
Yes.
and they have a lot of those. Well, they have a splash pad, but they have the big checkers and ping pong tables, and of course the playscapes and stuff like that. So that reminded me of a lot of what your ideas they have down there. But again, thank you so much for coming. Do appreciate it, and I hope whatever we do, we need to. I strongly suggest that we vet it with the citizens before moving forward.
Thank you,
but
Mr.
thank
Mayor.
you so much. Do appreciate it. Then moving to regular agenda number 8.3. Ms. Postlev, if you'll please read that agenda item. Thank you.
An ordinance of the City of Leon Valley, Texas City Council authorizing the acceptance of a community development block grant award in the amount of $302,632 to construct the Blacksmith and Wagon Spoke Water and Sewer Main Project, authorizing the negotiation and execution of a CDBG program agreement with Bexar County, authorizing a fiscal year 2018-2019 enterprise fund budget adjustment in the amount of $498,100, providing for repealer, severability, and savings clauses, and providing for an effective date.
Thank you. Welcome back,
Mayor and Council.
Mr. Demeline. Yes.
Thank you. The purpose of this item is to authorize the city manager to enter into a CDBG grant in the amount of $302,632 and to request a budget adjustment in the amount of $498,100 for the Blacksmith and Wagon Spoke Water and Sewer Main Project. The city applied for the 2018 grant program last spring. The project was selected for funding in the amount of $302,632, and the scope of the work on the project would be to replace water and sewer mains along those streets, including the water services, replacing valves, new manholes, sewer laterals, and one fire hydrant. The construction estimate for the project is $425,000. Engineering and design would be $73,100 for a project total of $498,100. As I mentioned, the grant amount is $302,632. The balance would come from our water utility fund and we're requesting the budget adjustment to cover that project total of $498,100. So at the completion of the project, we would be reimbursed by Bexar County CDBG. So the budget adjustment from the Water Utility Fund is being requested. The fund balance is $2.2 million currently, and then as I mentioned, at the completion of the project, we would be reimbursed up to that $302,632 amount. We recommend the City Council approve an ordinance authorizing our city manager to accept the Bexar County CDBG program agreement and authorize a budget adjustment for the amount of $498,100. Under strategic goals, item number 2, continuing work on capital and planning projects. This project will provide for the replacement of water main that experiences main breaks, replace sewer main, new water services and valves, and enhance our delivery of service in this area. Our C statement, social equity, adds to the general quality of life for all citizens. Environmental, it reduces the amount of main breaks that we would have and helps with our water loss, conserving water from the Edwards Aquifer. And economic development, improved infrastructure, ensures the reliable delivery of water and wastewater services, and helps us maintain our superior rating. With that, Mayor and Council, I'd be happy to answer any questions.
All right. Thank you. So the water utility budget, is that our reserve fund that we have?
Yes.
Is that what that is? Okay, good. I just wanted to double check that that was our savings. And then I was just curious because it seems like we've had a number of these CDBG grants over the last several years. Is there any way that you could bring a map to show which ones that we've done?
I sure will.
And then because it looks like we're making some progress up there as far as replacing the mains, and then we can see how many more sections we need, I guess. But I'd like
yes,
to see that.
Absolutely. I can provide that for our next meeting.
Okay, that'd be great.
This would be the 4th year in a row that we've done a project in this neighborhood. We've done 3 water and sewer main replacements and 1 drainage project in the Old Mill neighborhood. So this would be our 4th year of doing that.
Okay.
So and it really helps us leverage those funds in our budget.
It's a great bang for the buck, as they say, so that's very good. Okay, thank you. Any other questions from the counselors or anyone from our chambers on this? Yes, Councilor Alcacer.
I wanted to commend you and Melinda for the ongoing work you're doing in getting these CDBG grants, because it's making a huge dent in what the city's obligation would be. And I had one particular citizen complaining during Earthwise about the enormity of her water bill in the $200 range, and she's had the city out and checking everything, but she's realizing that the city didn't plan beforehand, and we have all these extra expenses that are going into the water and sewer, and it would help to show that we're also working on as the mayor had indicated, a number of places getting it done with help from the county by these grants. So.
Our federal dollars coming back, and that's why the census is so important. That's another issue, but because that's how they figure out how much money comes back to our community. So it's a great program. So yes, I concur. Thank you for your efforts. Anyone else? Okay. Thank you so much. Then we will come back for the second read at the next meeting. Thank you, Mr. Demeline. Agenda item number 8.4, presentation, discussion, and possible action on a resolution authorizing the filing of an application with the Bexar County Community Development Block Grant, CDBG, program for fiscal year 2019 for the Senior Community Center and the Old Mill Park project. And we have Maribel Mendoza, our Special Events Coordinator, here
Good
this
evening,
evening
Mayor and
to
Council.
present. Good evening and welcome.
So this resolution will authorize the filing of an application to the Bexar County CDBG 2019 program. If the project is selected, the City of Leon Valley will comply with all the CDBG grant requirements. A little bit of background on it. The CDBG program is accepting applications for 2019, and we're proposing to remodel the interior and exterior of the Senior Community Center and also upgrading the Old Mill Park with irrigation system, shade covering, 8 new benches, 8 picnic tables, and water fountains. Schedule for this grant is about 6 months for the selection process. October 2019 through September 2020 is when the contract period begins if the City of Leon Valley is selected. Fiscal impact, the estimated project cost is $275,220. We're requesting 75% of the CDBG funds, grant funds, and the city match of 25%, which would be $68,805. Improvements to the Senior Community Center will save money on the cost to operate the community center. And just a little breakdown on what each item would cost. So the community center, senior center would be $152,490. Old Mill Park, $95,980. Engineers for the design and bid, $26,750, which would be the total cost of $275,220. Recommendation: the resolution is required to submit with the 2019 application for the CDBG grant. We recommend approval and passage of the resolution. Under strategic goals statement, item 2, continue work on capital and planning projects. So the project will provide for the remodel of the kitchen, restrooms, lighting, flooring, AV equipment, and interior and exterior painting. That will enhance the rentals for the senior community center, and also the improvements, as I mentioned in the previous slides, on Old Mill Park. It does align with our C statement, so improving the condition of the center will possibly lead to more rentals. Each time the facility is rented, customers are made aware of Leon Valley and what is in Leon Valley that might be used for shop or for frequent, and also adds general quality of life for all citizens, especially our seniors. And with environmental stewardship, new and updated kitchen and restroom equipment and new lighting will include more environmentally conscious appliances and fixtures for the community center. And now I stand for any questions.
Okay, very good. Is this the first time we've applied for 2 CDBG grants at the same time? I mean, I'm just wondering.
Actually, the last item, Mayor, was from last year's application.
Oh, that was 2018. This is 2019, so we're not competing against one another. Thank you so much for pointing that out to me. I did not see that, so
That's
great.
why we put the park and the senior center all in one application, so we did compete against each other.
Very good, thank you. And then also on the AV equipment, will that address the microphone?
Yes, ma'am.
Because we've always had issues with
Correct,
that
yes,
in the
ma'am.
community center. Okay, great. And then if we get this grant, will the community center have to be shut down for these improvements? And will it affect the seniors?
Yes, they would have to be shut down, depends on the major improvements, and it would affect the seniors, but I'm sure we can accommodate them at the conference center if need be during that time frame.
Okay. But again, the park, that's a little different because it's
Correct.
more like benches and water fountains and stuff. Okay, so we'll just need to make sure that if we get the grant, we communicate with the
Correct.
seniors.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, very good. Anyone else?
Sounds good, great planning,
Yeah.
and thanks again for continuing to work on these grants.
Any other comments, questions from our citizens in the chambers this evening? Okay, may I have a motion to approve this resolution for this grant, please?
I so move.
Second.
We have a motion by Councilor Alcacer and a second by Councilor Jordan to approve the resolution authorizing the application of the CDBG grant as presented. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion does carry. Moving then to agenda item number 9, citizens to be heard. Anyone in our chambers that would like to address the council at this time, please come forward. Seeing no one, and if there's no objection, we move to adjourn at 7:30. in the evening. That's versus 11:11 from last meeting. Yeah, hey, way to go. Thank you all very much. Have a great evening. And yes, I see thumbs up back there. And we'll see you on March the 19th. Be safe and stay warm. Thank you.